Hey everyone, welcome back again to the next video, and in this video we're going to be solving a new question from Leetcode, and the topic this time is string. So it's an easy level problem, but at the same time it's having a very unique concept that you will see in many of the different question of strings. So that's the reason I have picked this particular question, to make you understand something very unique. Alright, so this is an easy level problem. If you will just look at the problem statement, it is saying that we have been given an array of strings and we have to just find out the common number of characters that we have in this particular array. So given a words array which is consisting different string words, and we have to find out the common characters. Like you can see in this example that ELL is something which is common in all these three words. So that's what we have to return in the form of list of string. Alright, so what we are going to be doing is that we're going to be first of all trying to understand what's going to be the intuition for this particular question and how we have to approach this. So you can see that you just have to find out the common characters. So what's going to be the intuition for this particular question? First of all, you will try to see that and you will try to understand that what's going to be the data structure that I have to use in order to solve this question. You can try to think that you can use the hash map, wherein you will be having the key value pair and you're going to be having a key of character, and at the same time you'll be keeping a count of all the different values which are present inside of a word. That's what the very first thought over here is. I believe that that is something that can be used, but I will be telling you one more better approach, wherein you can just make a use of array that's also going to be serving the same kind of a purpose, because inside of the array, because we have A to Z characters, right? Inside of this A to Z characters, we can keep the count of all the letters starting from A to Z, because we're going to be keeping a count. I'll tell you the example over here, and based on that you can have a fair understanding. So you have been given the very first word as B, which is having the characters as B, having the count as 1, and E is also basically having the count as 1. And the next character that we have is L, which is having the count of 2, and the next character that we have is basically having the count as 1. So this is the fair count that is given to us in the very first word. And also at the same time, if we'll just take a look on the second word, which is label, it is also having the same kind of a count. That means we are good to go. We are having the same count as of now for the first two words. But the problem comes in the next word, which is roller. In this roller word, there is a new character which is coming. That means it is having the count as 1, and the next is basically the O, which is having the count as 1. And the next word which is coming is the L. So L is basically having the 2 count, which is basically fair. I mean, it's also present in the previous two words. But the problem comes for the O and R. So R is basically having the count as 2, and E, which is having the count as 1. So how you have to think? The main thing over here which is coming is that you have to check for all the characters, because you don't know how many words are present. So that means you have to check for all the count from starting from A to Z, because it can be the case that A is present in the first word, but in the last word it is not present. That's what over here it is also happening, right? So the R is something which is not common in all the three words. So you will have to find out the count of R as well, that how many times it is present, because it can be the case that it is present in the next word. So that's the reason you have to find it out. But the thing is that R is not having a count in the previous word. So as of now, till the time we have reached to the second index, till the time we have reached to the first index, we are having the count of R as 0. But as soon as we are reaching to the next word, that is having the count of R as 1, right? The R is having the count as 2. So, but at the end, what we want is we need to find out the minimum count. We have to find out the minimum count of the R, that is 0, because we have to find the common. We have to find the common for R, which is present in all the words. Because in the answer, if you will see, the answer is basically saying that you have got ELL. E is basically having the minimum common count of 1, L is having the minimum common count of 2. O is having the minimum count. O is not present in the first two words. It is only present in the third word, which is having the common count as O is having the common count for the last word as 1, but the common over here till the time in the previous counts, it is basically having the count as 0. So that's the reason you have to find out the common count for all the three words as the minimum one, so as to conclude the answer. That's what the whole logic is, because if you are able to find out the minimum count for all the characters present from A to Z in all the words, that means you are able to solve your question. That's what we're going to be doing over here in this particular question. I hope this particular example was clear to you. If you don't get it, just try to watch the video once again. I will also be explaining you this at the end while we are writing down the code over here. All right. So like I mentioned that we're going to be using the data structure as array that's going to be holding the count for minimum. So let's try to write that down. Minimum frequency, that is int. We have 26 characters in English. Now we have to firstly just fill the array with something called as the minimum frequency integer dot max value. It's going to be holding the maximum value so as to find out the minimum value at the end from the. Now what we have to do is we have to traverse through all the words. So how we can do that? We can traverse through all the words. Now that we have got the words, we have to look for their characters. And how we can do that? Character CW2 char array. All right. And we also have to make a temp frequency array so as to keep a count of individual word as well. And that is also going to be 26 over here. All right. So now that we have got, and what we need to do is we are also able to traverse through all the different characters that we have. So what do we need to do is inside of the temp frequency, we have to check that how many characters are coming. We have to just make a count of that particular word. And that's going to be done because we are having 26 starting from 0 to 25. So we're going to be subtracting it from A so that we can have the, this is going to just simply subtracting from the ASCII value and it's going to give the index value as 0. Okay. So in this temp frequency array, we have the count for that particular word. And what do we need to do is we have to compare that with our final array. And how do we need to do that? We will be int I equals 0, I less than 26. And we will be filling that when frequency for index I equals math.min, and that is going to be done between temp of frequency at that particular index as well as the min frequency that is at that particular index. So that means what we are doing, firstly we are just checking the count for that particular word. This is for the particular word. Once we got it from the word, we're going to be just keeping the store the count which is going to be present at that particular word as the minimum one into the final array that we have to make a, just count of. So this is temp frequency and this is minimum frequency. That's going to be my main array. And I'm going to be storing the minimum value which is coming out for that particular index. Once I have got this particular value, all I need to do is I just have to check how many values are present and I have to just simply return that to my string of answer, list of string. So this is basically the array list, and I have to just get the values from my array, and that's going to be int I equals I less than 26, I plus plus. For that's going to be that's going to be taking from I equals 0, 26, and inside of it basically so I will be traversing from I to 26 initially, and after that I will be checking that for that particular index what's going to be the count. So int j equals 0, j less than, and that's going to minimum frequency that is going to be at that particular index, j plus plus. So what we are doing is basically, now that we have got the count for that particular final array that I was holding up, now I have to check that array that what is the count for that particular character. So firstly, I'm traversing from 0 to 26, and for that particular letter, for that particular character, if I'm having the count, what is that particular count? What is the value for that particular minimum frequency? And using that, I will be able to store that inside my answer add. And how I'm going to be storing it? I will be storing it in such a way that what's going to be the count, that number of times I have to get that value. So if it is having I plus a, this is going to be my character value. So I have to make it as string, because at the end we have to return the string. Let's try to run this code. There is some error which is coming up. So it is saying that math.min frequency. Okay, so this is just a syntax error. And let's try to run the code now. Okay, so there is some thing which is missing. I have put the return statement at the wrong place. I will try and explain the code once again once it is passing. Okay, so it's a very simple thing. Whatever we have discussed so far, we have done the same thing. The very first thing is that we have created an array which is going to keep the count for all the particular words that we have. And once we are traversing through the words, what we are doing is we are starting with the for loop, wherein we are just traversing through different words, and then we are traversing through the different characters that we have. And we have created a temporary array which is going to keep the count of for that particular word, that how many times the character is coming. So once we are able to get the temporary array which is holding up the temporary count for that particular word, we are storing that to the main array. And what we are doing is, in the main array we are trying to keep the minimum number of count for that particular character, and that's how we are able to traverse through the complete array. And once we got the minimum count for all the different characters, we are just trying to put that back to the list of strings so that it's gonna hold the number of times that particular character, and that's what we are returning at the end, and that's how we are able to get our answer. All right. So I hope the logic and the intuition part for this particular question was clear to you. If you have any kind of a doubt, you can put that in the comment box and I'll be more than happy to answer your queries. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Goodbye.